All right, welcome back. This is part 3 of this special 3-part podcast series leading up to my upcoming workshop, The Minimalist Method for Men. I'm releasing this probably on Friday, May the 15th. The workshop is scheduled for Tuesday the 19th. So if you're listening to this and it's before that time, please get registered for the workshop if you haven't already. Best way to do that is going to be find me on Instagram at minimalist.gym. And I'll have plenty of the link posted plenty of times there and easy to find. But today we're going to be talking about part 3 of the 3 keys that I'm going to be going over during the workshop. In episode 1, we talked about key number 1, which is the metabolic primer, and why many men over 40 need to repair their metabolic foundation before they can effectively lose fat. Then in episode 2, we covered the 30-minute muscle method, why you do not need to live in the gym to build muscle and transform your body. And today we're talking about what I believe is the most important key of all, because honestly, without this one, the first 2 eventually fall apart. And this one is called the Non-Negotiables Code. So this is the system that keeps you moving forward when life gets messy, when work explodes, when your kids get sick, when you travel, when sleep is off, when your routine gets disrupted. Because if your plan only works when everything is perfect, then it's not a real plan, right? Because, we're all, as professionals and parents, we're all going to fall victim to these things at some point. It's just a fantasy to think otherwise. So why do most guys keep starting over? Think about how many times you've told yourself, I'll start fresh on Monday. Once work calms down, I'll get serious. After this trip, I'll get back on track. Things are just too crazy right now. The truth is, guys, life is always going to throw you curveballs. There will always be deadlines, family obligations, travel, holidays, stressful seasons. And if your fitness plan requires ideal circumstances, you're going to spend the rest of your life waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time never comes, right? So the problem is not necessarily willpower. People think that inconsistency is a discipline problem. It's not. It's a design problem. Most programs are built around a best case scenario, right? They assume that we have a perfect schedule, we had unlimited motivation, we have plenty of recovery, 0 interruptions, and when reality interferes, the plan breaks. And because the plan breaks, you assume you failed and you quit. This is what we're trying to solve. The Non-Negotiables Code solves this by designing your system around real life, not an ideal life. So the Non-Negotiables Code is, at its core, we ask one question. What are the few behaviors you can protect no matter what? Not your perfect routine, not your best week, your minimum standard, the smallest set of habits that keeps you grounded and moving forward. This is your operating system. So when everything else becomes chaotic, these standards remain intact. So let's define those core standards. The first step is to identify 3 to 5 daily behaviors that matter the most. So for many of these clients, this might include hitting their daily protein target, walking a minimum number of steps, completing some form of training or movement, maintaining a consistent sleep window, drinking enough water. These are not optional when life is easy kind of things. They're habits that you defend when life is hard. So even if the week is imperfect, these standards keep your identity intact. You remain the kind of man who takes care of himself, right? So step number 2, we introduced what I call the flex protocol. So the second step is creating pre-planned alternatives, because as we already addressed, obstacles are not a surprise. They're guaranteed. We know that they're coming. So for example, you can't get to the gym. Work ran over, something came up with one of the kids. We're going to use a 20-minute home workout, something that we already have in place. We already have the workout put together. You already have access to that. You already know where you're going to do it, what equipment you're going to use, etc. Let's say you're traveling. We're going to use the hotel room protocol. Let's say you're sleep deprived. We're going to shift into maintenance mode. So maybe we skip the workout altogether and go for a walk. You're overloaded with work. We're going to prioritize steps and protein. The key is that you make these decisions ahead of time. When stress is high and you're in the moment, decision-making quality drops, obviously. So having these backup plans in place, the flex protocol removes a lot of the uncertainty and gives you a clear next move. Very important. And then step number 3 is going to be the bounce back rule. So this one might be the most important rule in the whole system. One good choice is always enough to get you back on track. So one meal, one workout, one walk, one night of sleep, that's all it takes. So most men do not fail because they miss a few days. They fail because they interpret those missed few days as a total failure and they abandon the whole process. So the bounce back rule eliminates that all or nothing mindset. We're not waiting for Monday. We're going to make the next right decision and we're just going to keep going. So why does this work so well? The non-negotiables code changes the game because it focuses on identity and continuity. So instead of trying to execute a flawless program, you build proof that you are consistent, that you're resilient, you adapt, you recover quickly, you keep your promises to yourself. And that simple identity shift is what creates this long-term success. So let me give you a real life example here. Imagine a brutal week. You have a sick kid, work deadlines are piling up, sleep is terrible, travel is added unexpectedly. In the past, you may have done nothing and promised to restart later. Now that we've installed our non-negotiables, now that we have our flex protocol in place, even when things go absolutely batshit crazy in your life, we're still going to hit our protein target. We're still walking 8,000 steps. We're going to hit a 20-minute body weight workout at home or in our hotel room. We're going to get to bed on time. Was it perfect? No. Did you maintain some momentum? Absolutely. And that's what matters. So consistency, this is a common misconception that I hear a lot. Consistency does not mean doing everything perfectly. Consistency is refusing to disappear when life gets difficult. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the graphics on social media where it compares the two, like what we think consistency is, and then it's like 10 glasses with water that are all completely full. And then the one below it is what actually is consistency. And maybe the first 2 glasses are full, the third one is empty, the next one is half full, the next one is a quarter full, the next 2 are full. So honestly and truthfully, that's what it is, because we're all going to ebb and flow somewhat. But the key to long-term success is to get right back on track as soon as possible. So that bounce back rule, to have flex protocols in place. So what's our fallback plan if things go awry? What's our minimal acceptable plan that we can execute even when everything goes crazy? And so we're not stringing together days and weeks and months of perfection, but we've just raised our standard. And we're always pulling ourselves back to that standard as quickly as possible, even when things get hectic. So the men who transform are not the men who never get off track. They're the men who know exactly how to respond when they do. So that's what I'm going to be teaching in my workshop. If you're not registered for this and this topic and these 3 I guess the accumulation of the 3 topics that I've covered over these last 3 episodes. If this sounds appealing to you, then you definitely want to hop in on the workshop. It's called the Minimalist Method for Men. I'm going to be walking you through this complete system that I help busy dads over 40 to repair their metabolism, build muscle in 30 to 45-minute sessions, lose 10 to 15 pounds of body fat, have consistent energy, and stick with it year round. So this is not something that, it's not like an intense challenge that we go on and off of. It's something that we can keep up year round, keep up for the rest of our lives to some degree. So if you want to get registered for that, I will have the link all over my Instagram at minimalist.gym. I'll put that in the show notes. The training is going to be Tuesday, May 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, which is what I'm on. So if you're listening to this before that time, even if it's the day of, there's still time to get registered. And also worth noting, even if you know you can't make it, go ahead and get registered anyway if you're interested, because I'm going to be sending the replay out to everyone who registers. So that's going to be the easiest way to make sure that you can still watch the recording. You can message me on any of the platforms to ask questions if you have any specific questions. So make sure you get registered so that you have access to that. So that's it. Short one today. Just remember, guys, the goal is not perfection. The goal is to become the kind of man who always returns to his standards. That's how lasting transformation happens.